Hello, people watching car reviews on the internet. Welcome to the all-new 2024 Ford Mustang GT. Today, I'm going to get this new 7th gen Mustang up in the air. We're going to nerd out in tech specs, see how it is constructed and how it differs from the S550 6th generation, and then go give it the beans. This GT is equipped with the performance pack and the active exhaust system, which actually does increase horsepower and torque. More on that in a little bit. If you look right here on the inner tips, there's actually a little valve right there that opens and closes that one off. Cheese, you could grade cheese on these things. That's sharp. Hairy cardboard rear diffuser, not a fan of that. As far as the rear diff goes, since this is equipped with the performance pack, it comes with a Torsen limited slip differential with a 3.73 final drive ratio, and it is the exact same unit you got in the older S550 generation Mustang. So much so that it literally has a sticker on the bottom that says S550. It also says 8.8. I wonder if that's a nod at the old Ford 8.8 solid axle. Maybe it uses similar parts on the insides. Still utilizes an integral link independent rear suspension paired with a set of MagneRide adaptive dampers. Best way to describe what an integral link is summarized in this shot right here. This is an integral link of the rear suspension. It's housing the spring. It's integral to everything. Integral link. Rear anti-sway bar, which is mounted directly to the bottom of the subframe, measures in at, that's a big one, essentially 24 millimeter in diameter. The 7th generation of the Ford Mustang, codenamed S650, is built on a reworked version of the S550 chassis, the previous generation, and this GT 6-speed manual weighs in at 3,730 pounds. What the hell? Apparently, the secret to the sound of the Coyote is not an H pipe in the middle, it's a harmonica. Dual 65 millimeter piping. Only one side gets a flex pipe, weird, which is equivalent to 2 14/25 inch in SAE, for those of you that think metric is difficult. That's 2.5. My thing is off, or I'm off, both. Easy to access stuff, holy shit. The front engine subframe is tiny. This has to be one of the easiest cars to work on I've ever seen down here. This is incredible. There are multiple transmission options with the new S650 Mustang. Now for the GT, you can get a 10-speed auto or the Getrag MT82 D4 6-speed manual with auto rev match downshifting. That's what this one is equipped with. There is no published maximum torque input rating on Magna's website, the company that makes this transmission, so I'm not going to put anything in this video in that realm. But if you opt for the Dark Horse edition of the new Mustang, that comes with a Tremec TR3160 6-speed manual with more aggressive gearing, closer gear ratios than the MT82. It's not necessarily a stronger transmission, but some will argue it's a better transmission. Up front, you have a McPherson strut style suspension with aluminum lower links and steel knuckles. Again, paired with those MagneRide adaptive dampers. Dual ball joint configuration. Front anti-sway bar measures in at, gee, that thing's big, 33 millimeter and change. Are you bad driver proof? Yeah, that's some sturdy plastic. All right, time for the braking test. No one behind me. Ready, go. Oh, that pulled my cheeks out. Weird. I felt it in my cheeks. It was pulling my face forward. That was superb braking. Absolute spot on. That braking was just accomplished thanks to a set of 6-piston monoblock Brembo calipers with a 390mm or 15.4-inch single-piece front rotor. These ones are finished in the standard anodized gray finish, however you can pay additional if you want them painted a different color. The wheel, it is a 19x9 with a positive 45mm offset, wrapped in a 255/40 19-inch Pirelli P0 tire. It's got 40 series tires, nice chunky rubber, perfect ratio of sidewall to wheel, I think. Additionally, the wheels are painted satin black. It's part of a black appearance package that includes the roof, the spoiler, the mirror caps, and you can opt out of that if you don't want black wheels. Out back, you get a 4-piston monoblock Brembo caliper with a divorced caliper for your parking brake and a 355mm or 13.9-inch rotor, single piece. The wheel, it is a 19x9.5 with a positive 52.5mm offset, and they're wrapped in a set of 275/40 19-inch Pirelli P0s. It's also paired with the optional stucco treatment that you can add yourself to the rear inner fender liners. In the name of science, it is now time to give this horse the beans. Bolstering assessment. Good bolstering. It's designed for a little bit wider of a human than what I am, but it's got ample bolstering. As far as drive modes go, you have some buttons right here to go up and down. You can go from normal to sport to track. Well, the graphics are pretty sick on this. Supposedly they use the Unreal Engine thing from video games to do all the graphics on this. It changes also the layout of your tachometer and your gauge cluster. Drag strip, that's cute. Is the tree gonna change? No. Slippery, driving through the wet. And custom. Now, if you go into the infotainment system and select My Mustang, there's all kinds of stuff packed in here. You have track apps, auxiliary gauges, custom modes, which is where you can configure your settings for your driving, my color, and then cluster theme, my favorite. So in here, the gauge cluster will change with whatever mode you're in, but if you scroll to the bottom, Fox Body 87 to 93, yes please, which will now change your gauge cluster to that of a Fox Body Mustang. I love that, and it illuminates green at nighttime also, which is where the My Color mode comes in, because I also configured all of the other lights and displays inside the vehicle to illuminate that same 80s, 90s green color, which also includes the door sill lighting. And there's more stuff in here. You have track apps. I love it when cars do this. It gives you acceleration timer, braking performance, lap timer, launch settings, shift indicator, drift brake. Oh man, this is not gonna help the Mustang memes. Which, one of the best things about this new generation Mustang is it still has a Rippa e-brake, but it's an electronic Rippa e-brake. You pull up on it just like a regular e-brake, but it's electric. And to disengage it, you simply push your foot on the brake and push down. That's so smart. I do like the shifter feel of this MT82. I mean, it's very crisp feeling. I know these do get a bad rap in the aftermarket and Mustang community, but I would definitely make your opinion based on your own experience and don't go off of what other people say. As well as line lock and launch control. I'm gonna do it myself. Also in the My Mustang screen, you have the different sound profiles for the active exhaust, everything from Karen avoidance mode to blow your eardrums out mode. See what this thing can do. Ready? There we go. Flat foot shifting, nice. That's good. Whoa, this thing is spicy. One more time, I will use launch control just to see how it is. Launch settings. We'll go with 4500, like it. Launch control enabled, see what this thing can do. Ready? Go. Spun the tires. I didn't use no lift shift this time. Did it myself, and it is faster. That's good. So good. This car's so much fun. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, ding, ding. I love this hood vent. It looks good. Hood struts. Very much so functional vents. Love that. It's a square hood, very fox body-ish. That Gen 4 Coyote looks sick. The dual intakes are just so menacing looking when you pop the hood. Underneath the hood of the 2024 Ford Mustang GT is the Generation 4 Coyote 5-liter all-aluminum 4-cam naturally aspirated V8 that produces 486 horsepower at 7,150 RPM and 418 pound-feet of torque at 4,900 RPM. That's 6 additional horsepower and 3 additional pound-feet of torque if you opt for the active exhaust system. If you want to know how much it is without that, well, you can subtract 6 and 3, and there's your answer. You're welcome. Strut tower brace ties into the firewall. Is it? Yep, electronic brake booster. The intake manifold has been reworked as well to match. And is this engine cover actually carbon fiber? No, I think it's plastic. That is some realistic looking plastic though. Almost looks like real dry carbon. The Gen 4 Coyote is still 307.3 cubic inches with a 93 by 92.7 millimeter bore and stroke, a 12:1 compression ratio. The blocks have a wire arc plasma transfer cylinder liner, which is essentially hot liquid magma that robots just spray into the hole to coat it or something. Additionally, the 4th generation Coyote employs a new 4-to-1 exhaust manifold, and it is port and direct fuel injection. Underneath the plastic valve covers, you have reworked camshafts and is still a 4-valve per cylinder setup with Ford's TI VCT variable valve timing. That Dark Horse package I mentioned earlier that has a completely different 6-speed manual transmission option. In addition to that, the Gen 4 Coyote in it gets forged steel connecting rods. That's a lot of changes just for a package, and it bumps the horsepower up to 500 while torque remains the same at 418. This color looks a lot like Area 51 on the Bronco. Handling report. Now, I've never taken one of these on a track before, so I can't give you that level of feedback on how this thing handles, but the biggest thing that really stands out to me from the past generation, the S650, is the throttle is so laser crisp. Just like the slightest little deviation of muscle twitch in your foot, and this thing picks up on it. I haven't seen that other than maybe in the Lexus RCF of that level of crispness. And the induction sound from that Gen 4 Coyote, those dual throttle bodies do make a difference in that department. This engine sounds so phenomenal, like a work of art phenomenal. The shifter feel in this thing is good too. It's crisp, and the one thing about the MT82 though is the gearing. It's got tall gears, super tall gears, so I can see the appeal of the Dark Horse with the 3160 to address that issue. But it does feel a little crisper, like they worked on this area from the S650. And the overall location of the shifter is good too, in contrast to like a New Edge where you feel like you're shifting the dashboard like in a EP Civic hatch. You do notice a little hair of its weight. A little bit. You can see that it's a 3,700 pound car, especially when you're hitting dips and bumps going mid-corner. The downside of a Ford Mustang is it has a bit of a negative stigma that comes with it. Not on the level of a Nissan Altima type of negative stigma, but still, it's a few bad drivers and bad owners of these cars that give them a bad name. But conversely, on the other side of that, there are far more people that get irritated by the presence of this car even being on the same road as them than there are idiots driving them. It is astonishing. That's it. Why do I do this? Oh, this is soft. Oh, hello. Door just shut for me. Ouch. If I was actually a normal size human, I would probably fit back here. If you were like 5'5", 5'6", you'd be super comfy back here. My head is pressed into the glass though, I can't lean back. No frills back here. solid plastic everywhere. But the seat, the seat bottom is just, it hugs you. Let me out. Is there a popper? Geez, that is a huge trunk lid. Bang & Olufsen Thumpy Boy. Anti-abrasion material back here. That's nice. Trunk struts, sound deadening. I don't know how I feel about the shape of the tail lights back here. It'll probably grow on me though. That's cute. It's a little Easter egg of S650 on the taillight. Some more Easter eggs. All 7 generations of the Ford Mustang are on the back glass on the very edge of the defrost area. This area back here definitely looks Camaro-ish. I don't know why. The seat belts have a stripe on them. It's kind of fancy. Wireless charge cubby, USBs, memory seats, but this is not carbon fiber. This is plastic fiber. There's a pad down here in the side of the transmission tunnel if you have horse knees. Flat bottom steering wheel. The Bang & Olufsen sound system is amazing in here, but it's still not as good as just listening to the engine. What is inside here? Nothing. It's kind of a strange design for the engine start stop button. You can barely read it. It just looks like a red blob. They give you some quick access buttons down here so you don't have to dig through the menu system to find it on the go. The minimal amount of effort period went into designing this little cubby up here for your sunglasses. It gets the job done though. The home link buttons for your garage door are built into the visor itself instead of the rear view mirror. The dash up here is classy and kind of feels like you're in a Mustang. How's the glove box? Gets the job done. My biggest complaint in this car would have to be the fact that there is no physical buttons for the HVAC and climate control. You have to go through the screen to do that, and I could see there being potential issues, especially in Arizona where the sun will get these things so hot that they don't turn on in vehicles. I'm gonna switch this thing into Karen avoidance mode because there are horses out here and I don't want to scare the wildlife. So the number one reason why I would choose a new S650 over the past generation S550, because you can get a used one for about as much as a new one, is because of the tech. The tech features that have changed for this new generation by far make this worth upgrading to one of these cars. Although I do like the fact that they have this auxiliary gauge menu that you can monitor either 5 or you can set it on just 3 gauges to look at while you're driving. The downside of that though is although this tech is nice, I do miss the look of the gauges on the S550 dash. It's just a little bit more timeless. Whereas I feel this might age 10 years from now and look tacky, like an outdated piece of technology stuck on the dashboard. Fuel economy on the S650 is... So I'm not gonna look at that trip, that's terrible. Overall, so I've had it this week, I've averaged 17.2. That's not terrible considering this thing is almost 500 horsepower and does 0 to 60 in... Ow! I keep getting stung out here by bugs, but I'm not even like swatting at them. They like sting me. It's like horse bees. They're horse flies that mated with bees. That's a real thing. It is now time to give this thing some scores. Starting with the bean score, the assessment of the feeling you get in your gut when you give the beans. And the 2024 Mustang GT Performance Pack gets a rating of... Followed by the cookie score, the assessment of value. And this thing as equipped gets a rating of... Followed by the wrench score, the assessment of ease of maintenance, and S650 GT gets a rating of. Next is the squid score, the assessment of handling, and it is getting a rating of. Lastly is the penguin score, the assessment on how much I personally like a vehicle, and the S650 Mustang GT gets a rating of. I've never really wanted a Mustang GT before until this one now. Maybe it's because it's the last one ever. Like, this is the end of the second muscle car era. I know it's a pony car, but horses have muscles also. How else do you think they run? Horses are jacked. This could go the wrong way fast. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I'll see you soon with another. Bye.